what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends X-Men Marvel's MORPH. People have wanted a MORPH figure from the animated series, or I guess this kind of MORPH, for a long time, and we finally got one. It is part of this cel-shaded look, which is not a fan favorite. In theory, it was. A lot of people very excited when it was announced, myself included. As they've continued to release these figures, we've started to realize they aren't trying very hard. They're not doing a good job with this animated series line at all. And this is part of that line. So is it any good? That's the question. We're going to find out. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. And this guy stands just shy of 7 3/4 inches, which makes him pretty close to, we'll say just shy of 17 centimeters. And we'll do a quick size comparison. Here he is up against, let me move the camera a little bit here. Here he is up against everyone's favorite Darwin. And here he is up against a rival collectibles figure prototype. So you can see scaling for Marvel Legends is going to be basically spot on, because this is the new Bucky Cap mold. This is the, I lost his name again. Vulcan. It's Vulcan, right? I remembered it. His name is Vulcan. Anyway, that's this one, so there you go, size-wise. And here we go with a quick audio VHS box comparison. That's the cartoon look for MORPH. This is the one that they gave us. This is like a realistic, not cartoon version of MORPH. Like, if they took the cartoon and found somebody who looked kind of like it, that's this. Why not just do that? Like, why? Why? Look at that hair. It's a very specific look. He's always had that specific look. He doesn't just have his hair combed to the side like this. It's not just regular bangs. It's not just a regular coiffed hair. It's a very specific look. And they didn't try to get it. And a lot of people are really upset about that. Many people have asked me to make a new head for this guy. I'm not going to do it because, one, it's not fun to just paint plain old heads, human-like heads. It's boring for me. And two, I don't think it matters that much, because I'm guessing, we'll get to the accessories, most people are going to want to use this head, and because of the way this head looks with the messed up hair and the eyes and stuff, I think this one looks fine, and I'm thinking most people are going to want to use this, and then I don't need to bother making any. So that's my plan anyway. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't really match. And while we have this out and we're talking about the aesthetic, we're going to do a question of the day. Which MORPH head are you planning to use in your display? Normal good guy MORPH, or purple eyes MORPH, bad guy MORPH? For me, it's easily the purple eyes. I never cared about MORPH as a good guy ever in the cartoon. Okay, so let's talk about the aesthetic here. Like, the legs look okay in terms of they're blue and yellow, but they're not dark enough blue, and the shading is still crap. We'll get to the shading. The jacket, it's just not the right jacket, really, and the way it sits on him looks ridiculous. It sits way too high up on the head, and the collar area is huge. Like, this looks like a nice jacket. Here, this is a good example of how the jacket looks super goofy. It just doesn't look right. So the aesthetic on this guy is bad. Once again, the paint job is just absolutely nuts bad, like terribly, ridiculously bad. Look at the cel shading. What the heck is that on both arms, but this side specifically? This is not cel shading. This is not animation shading. This is nothing. This is a swiggle of paint. It doesn't even go with the wrinkles. Look at this arm. It's just a single line on here. It doesn't even line up. Like, it's the weirdest paint job. Underneath, they gave us a little bit on his pecs, which is honestly good. Like, those two little pec lines are good, but there's nothing anywhere else. And you can see the yellow poking through under here, so that's no good. But like, that kind of shading all over would have been great, but it's not. And then for the legs, it's just a single line, and then a single line on the feet. And it's just, it looks so basic, so not good, so it doesn't look like anything it's supposed to look like. Aesthetically speaking, it's a mess. It's not what it should be. They should have just gone with plain, don't do the cel shading. It's not good enough. It's horrible, in fact, and so it's very disappointing. So aesthetically speaking, I like the new body. I hope they redo other characters like Cyclops, which I think they did announce that, didn't they? I think they did, on this body, because it is better than Bucky Cap overall, I think, even though Bucky Cap was a strong one for a long time. This is just not it. And the jacket's like this weird reddish brown that just looks weird. Everything about this figure is pretty off-putting, I think, other than the leg sculpt. in the torso sculpt, I guess. It's strange. Don't like it. Aesthetically speaking, 4 out of 10. This cell shading is just horrible. They're ruining figures by doing it. As far as accessories go, we do get the 2 fist hands. We get 2 open hands. Those are fine. Then you saw the normal head, which is pretty goofy looking. And then I actually think they did a good job with the not normal head, the bad guy head. Like, it's not perfectly from the cartoon, but it's close enough. And they did a good job with the purple around the eyes, the extra wide open eyes, the little weird smile. I like this head a lot. And the hair does have shading in it, so that looks very nice. I love this head. Accessory-wise, 7 out of 10. Not that he needs a ton, but, I mean, it's MORPH, so they could have given him more. But it's okay. All right, let's talk about the articulation. Even though we've seen it all before on Vulcan, might as well do that. So we get the hinge and the ball peg. The head does sit too high on the neck. The jacket sits way too high. I mentioned that in the aesthetic. I didn't go into enough detail. It should sit way lower. I don't know why they did that. And they didn't need to make it as thick as they did up there either. There's like a big hollow area where it can be pushed down and it just sits funny. Well, I mean, it's because it wasn't made for this body, but still, it doesn't look good. It's too big and poofy and weird looking for a leather bomber type jacket. Anyway, the head's got the hinge and the ball peg, so it's okay. A double ball peg would be better, but it's fine. Shoulders, we've seen these arms before too, just on a different body then. Horizontal is fine, full rotation is fine, bicep swivel is okay, questionable. This arm likes to come apart. I don't think this one is as bad as some of the past ones I've seen, so be careful though. So bicep swivel there is fine. Single jointed elbow, which is okay I think for a jacketed figure. Slightly better than 90 degrees, and you will get another bicep swivel out of that, which honestly a double bicep swivel is ideal. It's hard to achieve unless you're doing a single bend, which most people don't want. But a double bicep swivel allows this to swivel some and this to swivel more, and you can bring the arm across the chest to shoulder guns and things much easier. But again, you have to, most of the time you have to sacrifice one of the joints here. So either way, that's a fine elbow. Wrist have a swivel and a hinge. We do have butterfly joints on this body, which are somewhat useful underneath the jacket. They work some. It's not really a good way for me to show you because you just kind of have to mush them. But they'll work some. It's okay. It's not bad that they're under there. It doesn't hurt anything. And that's alright by me. Ab crunch on this guy does go back. It's a horrible ab crunch on this new mold. What the heck? How did they manage to make a whole new mold? And that's what the ab crunch looks like. That is 1995 right there. I mean, I know they didn't have ab crunches back then, but you get what I'm saying. It's bad. This is a terrible, terrible ab crunch. Range is decent enough, but it looks horrible. So there it is going forward. Waist twist is fine. Belt is floaty, but it's not going anywhere. It is stuck right there, making it look like he has no extra waist above the leg, above the thigh, which I guess is the intent. They didn't want the yellow there because I'm pretty sure the yellow is just supposed to go down and he's not supposed to have yellow trunks that show on the front, is he? I think he is. So maybe they screwed it up. I was thinking for whatever reason Morph's suit only had the yellow going down the crotch and didn't have the trunks, but then his butt wouldn't be blue, or it would be blue. I don't know. That's a new way of doing belts that is kind of strange. Legs going forward is okay. It's not bad. It goes horizontal, goes back just a touch. Out to the sides, pretty far. I'd say that's far enough. I would prefer more because why not? It's easy to do. They just didn't do it. Thigh swivel is fine. It's at the top of the yellow piece, which is a decent way to hide that. Double jointed knees work nicely, no problems there. We get a shin swivel underneath the yellow piece, which is a little bit weird. That's pretty weird. Ankles go pretty far back and far enough forward, and it has a decent ankle rocker. So yeah, the articulation on this body is not bad. It's perfectly acceptable. It's ugly in the torso, but it's functional, so I'll give it an 8. That's fine. For Marvel Legends standards, it's alright. Okay, so time for a final verdict. Is this the Morph figure people have wanted for decades now? Not really. It's pretty close. And I think that's kind of where this is going to fall for most people. If you can ignore that horrible paint job on the sleeves, which by the way, repainting brown is super easy. So get some black paint, paint it black, dry brush brown over it, and then maybe paint the collar poof, and you'll be good. It's super easy to do. You guys could do it no problem. With a little bit of practice, you could dry brush. Dry brushing makes everyone a wonderful painter. So give that a shot if you really want to. But anyway, it's not quite what people wanted. I think it'll do. And the alternate head is pretty nice. So I'm going to give this a final rating of 7 out of 10. It's fine. It's not good. It's not terrible. It's just okay. If the price was lower, I'd be a little more lenient, but it's not. It's a fairly high price for a poor excuse of a cel-shaded paint job. So You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below, but that's all I have to say about it. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.